The Mastery of Connection. 7 signs you are being used and how to reclaim your worth. Introduction. Stepping out of the shadows. Have you ever looked at your life and felt like you are giving your absolute all to a relationship, only to realize you are merely a background character in someone else's story? It is a painful and sobering truth that many of us face, yet we often choose to brush it aside, convincing ourselves that this is simply how things are. But here is your reality check. It should not be this way. You are not a convenience, you are not a stepping stone for someone else's ambition, and you are certainly not a temporary fix for someone's fleeting needs. Today, we are going to dive deep into the subtle, often overlooked patterns that signal you are being used. This isn't just about identifying big betrayals, it's about the small, daily moments that slowly chip away at your self-worth. By understanding these hidden truths, you will gain the tools to steer your ship back to a place where your value is cherished. You deserve relationships that are genuine, reciprocal, and respectful. Signal 1. The weight of one-sided effort. One-sided effort is a phenomenon where you find yourself perpetually in the role of the giver, the supporter, and the one constantly reaching out. This disparity can leave you feeling emotionally drained and unappreciated, much like rowing a boat alone while the other person simply watches the horizon. The Stoic philosopher Seneca once noted that we are more often frightened than hurt, and we suffer more from imagination than from reality. Sometimes we ignore this imbalance because we fear losing the connection, even if that connection is causing us harm. However, Marcus Aurelius reminds us never to value anything as profitable if it forces us to lose our self-respect or act as a hypocrite. If you are compromising your peace of mind to maintain a relationship where you make all the plans and initiate all communication, you must question its true value. As Epictetus famously said, "We have 2 ears and 1 mouth for a reason, to listen twice as much as we speak." But in a one-sided dynamic, you may find yourself doing all the talking with no active engagement in return. Psychology identifies this as a major source of emotional distress, and recognizing this imbalance is the first step toward a healthier life. Signal 2. The trap of selective availability. Selective availability is a sign that the dynamics are skewed heavily in favor of one party. It describes a person who is always ready to receive your support, but is conspicuously absent when it is time to give it back. Seneca observed that wherever there is a human being, there is an opportunity for a kindness. But in these relationships, kindness is a one-way street. This behavior proves that convenience has outweighed genuine care. Marcus Aurelius taught that it is not what happens to you, but how you react that matters. Your reaction to selective availability should be to recognize your own value and refuse to be treated as an option. This is not just about physical presence, but emotional availability. In Western psychology, reciprocal social support is fundamental for trust and emotional safety. Without it, your self-esteem will naturally decrease. Instead of responding with bitterness, follow the advice of Aurelius. The best revenge is to be unlike him who performed the injustice. Seek balance instead of mirroring their neglect. Signal 3. The vacuum of genuine interest. A profound issue in many failing relationships is the absence of genuine interest. A real connection requires a two-way exchange, a mutual curiosity about each other's lives, emotions, and aspirations. Aristotle would see a lack of this interest as a failure to achieve friendship of the good, where virtue and mutual appreciation are key. When interest is missing, the relationship becomes transactional rather than authentic. Seneca believed that interactions should be based on mutual respect, not just what one can gain. If someone shows no empathy for your struggles or goals, they are disregarding the fundamental aspects of a meaningful bond. Plato might see this as a failure to recognize the ideal form of friendship, leaving you with nothing but a shadow of a true connection. This lack of depth leads to isolation, contradicting the human need for connection that Carl Jung emphasized as essential for self-realization. We cannot force someone to care, but we can focus on what is within our control, cultivating relationships that are mutually supportive. Signal 4. Unveiling emotional manipulation. Emotional manipulation is a critical red flag where guilt, pressure, or coercion is used to influence your actions. This is particularly insidious because it exploits your compassion, making you question your own motivations. Epictetus taught that while external events are out of our control, our responses are ours to command. When faced with manipulation, you must see the behavior for what it is and choose not to let it dictate your self-worth. Marcus Aurelius would advise staying true to your nature and reason, maintaining your integrity despite someone else's attempts to disturb your inner peace. Seneca spoke of the tranquility of the mind, which is directly threatened by such manipulative forces. Psychologically, this can lead to anxiety and depression. Carl Jung's process of individuation requires you to reaffirm your own thoughts and values against these external pressures. Use Aristotle's phronesis, or practical wisdom, to deliberate on the best way to remove yourself from such toxic dynamics. Signal 5. The disregard for boundaries. A problematic relationship is often defined by a consistent disregard for boundaries, where one party oversteps or ignores the limits you have set. This might look like someone constantly changing plans, expecting you to be always available, or dismissing your preferences. Marcus Aurelius emphasized the dignity of the individual. Allowing someone to repeatedly ignore your boundaries is inconsistent with maintaining that dignity. Seneca believed in a balance between self-preservation and our duties to others. When boundaries are violated, this balance is destroyed. Epictetus would remind you that while you cannot control the actions of others, your boundaries remain within your control to uphold. From a Jungian perspective, asserting boundaries is a crucial part of integrating the various aspects of oneself. Following Aristotle's golden mean, we must find the balance between flexibility and firmness. A total disregard for boundaries is an extreme that disrupts a healthy life. Signal 6. The facade of superficial connection. A superficial connection is characterized by interactions that lack emotional engagement. Even after spending considerable time together, you may realize you don't truly know each other. Epictetus would argue that the essence of a relationship must be truth and sincerity. A shallow bond fails to align with the Stoic values of authenticity. Marcus Aurelius viewed true companionship as a bond that contributes to personal growth. He would see superficiality as a missed opportunity for real understanding. Seneca believed relationships should improve us and others. A superficial one fails this purpose. Aristotle's highest form of friendship is based on virtue, not just utility or pleasure, which is where superficial connections often stay. Plato might say, these connections fail to reach the world of forms, the fundamental reality of human essence. Without depth, you cannot achieve the self-realization that Jung described. Signal 7. Absence during the storm. The final and most telling signal is the absence of a person during your tough times. Genuine relationships are not proven in moments of convenience, but in times of adversity. When a person is conspicuously absent during your struggle, it speaks volumes about their lack of investment. Epictetus taught us to endure hardship with grace, but also recognized the value of support. If a friend is absent, he would suggest re-evaluating that relationship and seeking support elsewhere. Marcus Aurelius saw the support of a friend in hard times as a duty. Its absence contradicts the principles of empathy. Seneca wrote that friends should ease our burdens. Enduring hardship alone while having friends suggests the bond lacks genuine solidarity. Aristotle, Plato, and Jung all agreed that true friends are those who remain present and supportive during life's challenges, as their connection is based on a deeper understanding of souls, not just utility. Conclusion: weaving a genuine life. In the grand tapestry of life, the value of your relationships is not measured by the ease of the time you share, but by the presence and support you feel when things get difficult. You deserve connections that are as deep and genuine as your own commitment. Every thread of genuine connection you weave adds strength, warmth, and color to your existence. Stay true to yourself, recognize your worth, and keep seeking those connections that make life truly meaningful.